having a stay-at-home date tonight. We're gonna have some filet, and I am cooking it right now, so I thought, hey, why not hop on here and show you how I do it. I use an iron skillet. Here's my giant filet. It is coated in Montreal steak seasoning. That is it. It's basically a lot of salt, pepper, garlic, and onion powder. On the bottom of this iron skillet, I have about a tablespoon of grapeseed oil. And then I just set my steak. I bring my steak out first to come to room temperature and then coat it and then set it right in here once the oil gets hot. I'm going to let it sear and get a good crust about 4 minutes on each side. Then I'm going to take it off and I'm going to put it in a 350-degree oven on a pan for about 10 minutes. Then I'm going to pull it out and let it rest for about 10 minutes and then slice it, and I will show you what that looks like. Once this steak is done doing what it needs to do, I'm also going to make a real quick vegetable stir fry with zucchini, asparagus, yellow and purple onion, some mini peppers, some tomato, some mushrooms. Butter is going to go in here in just a second, and also some smashed garlic, but the vegetable situation will cook in here real quick. I'll put a little splash of Worcestershire sauce in there and some salt and pepper as well. So right now we've got about a minute and a half going on with the steak, and I'm going to take some little knobs of butter. And what we're going to do as the steak cooks, we are going to take some of this butter and just kind of drizzle it and baste it and whatnot. It's not ready for it yet, but as the steak cooks, that's what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to lean the pan back and then take some of the butter and put it on the steak until it is done. So now we've got about a minute and a half left on this side. Then I'm going to turn it, and once I'm done turning it all and ready to go in the oven, I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, y'all, I just flipped the steak. As you can see here, this beautiful, nice crust is what you're looking for. Again, I use grapeseed oil. It has a higher smoking point than olive oil, and then real butter. You could use salted or unsalted, just butter pads in there. But that's what's going to give you that good sear right there, is to get it good and salt and pepper coated, and then to have your steak be room temperature, then hit that hot oil and leave it alone. Don't touch it. Don't flop it around. You just set it there and forget it. Iron skillet is magnificent for that. The steak is getting to the point where now we want to baste it. You don't want that top part to dry out, that's for sure. And I'm just basting it in its juices and the butter that melted. This steak is humongous, so it definitely needs to be basted. And again, I want to do about 4 minutes per side and then 2 minutes on the outside. This thing is thick. Okay, y'all, so now we're on to the last parts of doing the sides. As you can see, it looks beautiful. I'm going to add some garlic cloves that I smashed around it. If I had some fresh herbs like thyme or rosemary, I would add that too, but I don't, so I'm not going to. I'm just going to put this in that butter, and then I'm going to baste the steak some more with this garlic on here. Now, smashing the garlic helps it release its flavors into this basting liquid, which is the butter, and all the delicious juices. This smells incredible. Okay, and I am going to check this side. Looks gorgeous. We'll do 2 minutes on, actually probably just 1 minute on each end, and then we'll put it in this pan right here. We'll put it in this pan, and then we will go over to the oven, 350 for 10 minutes. Alright guys, I just pulled it out of the smoking skillet. Leave the skillet going, you can turn off the heat. But this is what it looks like with that gorgeous crust. It's beautiful. You want to set it there, leave it alone, don't touch it, don't squeeze it, don't cut it, nothing. And you want to put it into the oven on 350 for at least 10 minutes. And when we get back, I will show you how we're going to start up these veggies. The steak is in the oven, so now we're going to start in the same pan the little vegetable medley situation that we're going to have going on. Now, all we did was take the pan over to the sink and wipe it out and get the crust off of it, but don't soap it. You never want to soap your iron skillet anyway. And now I've got a layer of grapeseed oil going on right here, so I'm going to add my onions and my peppers. It's going to smell so good. Now to this, I'm going to go on ahead and add the mushrooms. and let all of that get some nice and good color on it. I'm only going to season this with sea salt and with Tony Chachere's Cajun seasoning. Obviously you could season it with whatever you want to. I just know that it's amazing. I'm not putting in the asparagus with the zucchini yet because it takes the least amount of time to cook. So I want to cook this down. The tomatoes are going to be at the end, and we'll just get them hot before they release their juice. But all you want to do for right now is just get some good color on this. And in about, it'll probably take about 3 minutes, then we'll start seasoning it up. Okay, now that it's starting to get some color on it, I'm going to add just a little bit of salt for the moment. And that's just kosher salt. You could use your pink Himalayan salt too, I just had that right there. Next, we're going to add in the zucchini. And we're going to add in the asparagus. You could cut the asparagus again if you would like to, just to make it a little easier to toss around, but either way is fine. Get everybody coated. I'm going to season with Tony's Cajun seasoning. It's probably a teaspoon to maybe 2 teaspoons of that, and then about a teaspoon of salt sprinkled around. A little spicy, baby? Craig is videoing this for me. So you're going to want to do that, and then add a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. That was about 3 good squeezes of it, so I'd say maybe, I don't know, tablespoon. And you're going to start to smell it very heavily. Obviously, you don't have to add the Worcestershire sauce if you don't want to. I like to add fresh ginger a lot of times if I'm going to make the fried cabbage with it, but I am not. If it starts to dry out, you can add a splash of chicken stock, and that's why I have that right here. But this is pretty much all you want to do. And then towards the end, we're going to add our tomatoes and let them get a little bit blistered. Okay, so this, with your steak, you could serve it with a huge salad, which is what I'm going to do, or like a baked potato or some sort of potato dish with starch. But this is delicious, and it's pretty much done. And so we've done the steak in here, and we've done the stir fry in this pan. You gotta love a good iron skillet. When we come back, I will show you what the steak looks like after it has rested. Remember, 10 minutes in there, at least 10 to 13 or 14, depending on the Mama Jamma steak you have, and then let it rest for at least 10 minutes before you go cutting into it. Okay, you guys, I pulled the steak out of the oven. It has been resting for about 10 minutes. Okay, and what that does is it allows its juice to go back into itself. If you were to cut it immediately, it's not going to be as tender. You want to pull it out, put it onto a cutting board, have a sharp knife and a fork. I guess you don't have to have a fork, but sharp knife, and cut directly down the center. Look at that! That is perfect! What do you think, darling?
Beautiful.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Alright, now, if it were not as perfect as you wanted it to be, you can pop it back into the oven for just a little bit. What I'm going to do to put it on, oh, it looks really good. What I'm going to do for our salads is I'm going to cut it into slices. So the other thing that you could do, if, say, that is amazing. That is a perfect medium. But say that you wanted it done a little bit more and only wanted, say I wanted to save that half for later because this is a lot of steak. You could take this and pop it onto a skillet and just sear those sides real quick, probably about a minute to get it a little more well done. But that is how you cook that steak, and whenever we come back, I will show you what it looks like on top of a beautiful salad. Okay, you guys, we are ready to build this salad. Again, we made those stir-fry vegetables, so you could do your steak with the stir-fry vegetables and like a potato, but I'm gonna make this really pretty salad, and we'll eat those vegetables, of course. Now, this is a mix of spring greens or mixed greens, spinach, and then also some hearts of romaine, and I just arranged it to where it looked pretty. This is just a vinaigrette, pick whatever dressing you want to, and then a hard-boiled egg with some Tony Chachere's sprinkled on it. You could double up the yolk if you wanted to, but I just split that in half, and that's what we're doing. So here we have the steak. Then for our toppings, I've got some avocado that I sliced up with lemon pepper. It's delicious. Some tomatoes, some mini yellow pepper that's kind of julienne, some chives, and some sun-dried tomato and basil goat cheese. I like blue cheese, I like feta cheese, pick whatever cheese you want to. Now with food, obviously I picked the red plate with the greens to offset it, and I really enjoy making things look pretty. So what we're gonna do first is we're gonna take some of this beautiful avocado and put it on here. Then I'm going to take this steak, and it's gonna be the star. Man, that looks good. The steak, just kind of layer it on there. Goodness me, looks so pretty. Okay, layer that on there. Then you just want to kind of, you know, add some of the peppers sporadically, but sort of methodically. Same thing with the tomatoes. You want to make it to where you can see all of the colors on everything, which I love. I am going to add the cheese next. You could add it onto the steak immediately so that it starts to melt some. Add a little bit of cheese out here. And then last but not least, I'm going to top it with some chives. Obviously, you can leave any of these things off. But how good does that salad look? I cannot wait to dive into it. And as always, may the Lord bless and keep you. May He let His face to shine upon you and give you peace. May the Lord be gracious to you and your family. I hope you have an awesome Friday night. If you have any questions, ask me about temperature, seasonings, what have you. But this, I hope you make it. It is delicious.